Instead of a paper for this assignment, I thought I would go with a presentation. What are the characteristics of experimental research? Experimental research is the only research method that identifies cause and effect in relationships, or what is causing something to happen. Other research methods are used to show what is going on and what is happening. Independent variables are factors or conditions that are deliberately manipulated to determine whether it causes a change in another behavior or condition. Dependent variables are factors or conditions that are measured at the end of the experiment. So we will deliberately do something to our independent variable to see what effect it will have on our dependent variable. Our research question might be, can meditation decrease aggressive behavior in teenagers? The independent variable would be meditation, and the dependent variable would be the decrease of the aggressive behavior. The experimental group is the group that is exposed to the independent variable, and the control group is exposed to the same experimental environment but is not given the treatment. In this scenario, the experimental group are those that will be taught to meditate, and the control group will be given the same quiet time while all other factors would remain the same, such as the same amount of time exposed to quiet time, in rooms with the same temperature, the same lighting, the same comfortable chairs, etc. Extraneous variables are undesirable variables that may influence a relationship or change the outcome of the research project. Internal validity is when a project doesn't have multiple causes that could lead to multiple effects of a research project. External validity are outside factors that can give the project more value because the results can be compared to other studies, other groups of people, or other situations. Selection bias is when we assign groups in a way that are systematic differences between the groups, such as everyone from the same school, same socioeconomic statuses, gender, race, such as Caucasians in one group and all other races in another. Random assignment would be like choosing names from a hat, so that everyone has an equal chance of being put in either Group A or Group B. This will help to ensure that both groups are similar as much as possible. A quasi-experimental design gives the researcher no choice in which group the participants go in, such as a study to find out how meditation may affect aggressive behavior in either male or females. We can't assign gender roles to just anyone. This is something that we have no control over. Experimenter bias is when the researcher's expectations influence the experiment's results. We can control this by using a double-blind study, which is where the researcher nor the participants know which group they are in until after the study is over and all of the data is collected. To answer our question, if meditation can decrease aggressive behavior in teenagers, we have to select our population. So let's say we want to test American teenagers. It's not possible to select every American teenager, so we have to select a sample. To get this sample, we could contact all the high schools in America and ask permission to randomly select 300 students nationwide to participate in the study. We would use a random sample or a random selection sample so that it is more representative to the total population. Once the sample was selected, then we have to randomly put them into either the control or experimental group. This is critical to the study because by randomly selecting which group other participants go into, then any other variable should be evened out so that each group is as closely identical as we can get them. The only thing we want different is what we are going to manipulate. We want to ensure that each group is exposed to a quiet, comfortable environment with the only thing that we're going to manipulate is the group that is given the instruction on how to meditate. Once the data is in, then we will need to compare the results, and if there is a difference in aggressive behaviors in the experimental group after the meditation exercises of the experimental group of the aggressive behaviors of the control group after they have some quiet time to themselves. And if there is a difference, is it statistically significant? And if it is, then that means that our results are most likely due to the internal validity of the study, and they did not happen by chance. Now we need to draw some conclusions. Is there something that we didn't take into consideration before the study, such as are some people just more aggressive by nature? Did something happen during the experiment, such as the room got too hot, or the participant felt too cold, or they were hungry, or some other outside factor that could have led to aggression? Then we need to consider the reliability and validity of the results. For reliability, we need to ask if we would do the same experiment with a different group of teenagers, would we get similar results? And for validity and our measurements and our testing methods, actually what we want to be measuring and testing. For example, a student that uses vulgar language, is that really a sign of aggressive behavior, or is that just how they communicate? And finally, we have to make generalizations and ask how our research applies back to the population and the question of our research project. This is the whole point of our research, to take a small amount of people and be able to apply it to the total population.